Hello everyone, this is Professor Gant with Math 1325 Business Calculus at Northlake College, the internet course. I am making this video so that you can get the basics of how to navigate through MyLabsPlus, how to log into MyLabsPlus, and some tips that you can use for best practices. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how we actually log into MyLabsPlus. So here at Northlake College, we use our student IDs to be able to do that. And most people's student ID begins with an E in front. We do not put that in when we sign in to MyLabsPlus. So of course we want to go to this URL right here. If you see it, www.northlake.mlpui.openclass.com. You could also get there by just typing in www.northlake.mylabsplus.com, and that's probably the safer way to get there. And of course, you do that, that'll be there. I'm going to erase my information right now so that you'll know how to actually sign in. So when we sign in, we use our student number without the E in front. So let's say if your student number was 7779311, then you would use that for both your username and your password. So 7779311 for the username and 7779311 for the password. And then after that, you'll click on sign in. Some of you may want to go ahead and change this after you get in and you register. Okay, I'm going to suggest that you don't do that. And so the reason for that is, at least during the first half of the semester, with us using the system is updated at least once or twice a week. And every time it's updated, everything goes back to default. And so by doing that, if you change your username and or ID, password, to something else other than your student number without the E in front, it's going to go back to that. And so you're going to experience login issues for probably up to the first half of the semester. So it's very simple just to keep it as just your student ID with the E not being in front. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my information right quick. And so here you'll have a list of courses. Since I'm an instructor, of course, I have a lot of courses. So it won't look like this. You probably just have maybe one or two, depending upon how many courses you've taken here at Northlake. So what I'm going to do is go into the Math 1325 INET. This is called the coordinator course, but it looks exactly like the course that we'll have. This is just the master one, so that I can go through some examples here. All right, so now that we are here on the landing page, there's a few things I want to illuminate to you. So the first thing is all the stuff that you see here, most of this you do not need to worry about. What you do need to worry about is what is over here to the left. So to get to your assignments, you want to go click on assignments here. And of course, you'll have everything listed. These first assignments after you do your browser check in this course are optional assignments. If you do them, then you'll receive extra credit depending upon what you score on these assignments. And so please see eCampus for details on that. There should be at least one announcement in the eCampus course of ours mentioning what type of extra credit you can earn for this. Okay. So moving on from there, once we get past these basic assignments here, then in section 10.1 is where we actually start. Okay. And so section 10.1, you have what's called the text and video, and then after that you have of course the homework. And so each section is like that. So just kind of give you an idea of what is there, I'm going to click on 10.1. And as you can see, all the media that we have for that particular section is there. So we have Introduction to Limits from the textbook. We have PowerPoint slides. We also have, of course, example videos. And so as you read through your textbook, you'll notice that there are some example videos that go along with the examples that you see in the textbook. And so these are these examples. Okay. I know later on I'm probably going to add a second section, text and video, and that one would be relating to the videos I've personally made up. And so if you see it, it'll be directly under, let's say, section 10.1. I may have it right before or right after, but you'll see it because it'll say Professor Videos. And so I'm making this video now before I've actually done that part of it, but you'll see it. And I would encourage you to check out the Professor Videos for, let's say, chapter 10 once you actually start to work in this. So not saying that you don't need to look at these examples either, but you'll sort of get my take or my perspective on it versus just doing a bunch of examples over and over again. Okay. So if you notice here, this goes to the textbook, this is a PowerPoint slide, and these are video examples here. And so I'm not going to click on these, but just to let you know that they are there. Now, if you're wondering, do you have to look at those particular videos, PowerPoints, or whatnot? You don't have to look at it. When I'm actually assessing the grade for the semester, I do omit those particular ones because that is there just for your information. You could decide that you just want to read the textbook and access that somewhere else without having to go through the review part, or the text and video part rather. So let's say for 10.1 homework, you've now done this part and you want to work on that. So let's go ahead and click on that. And if you notice here are our problems, and I'm just going to pick a random one. And so we have this problem here, and it says, given that the limit of some function as x approaches 2 from both the left and the right is equal to -8, and the limit of g as x approaches 2 from the left and right is equal to 5, find the following limit. So if you look at that and you're like, I have no freaking idea how to do that, then what you can do is look over here to question help. And so we have some options here. So we have help me solve this, and we have view an example. And so these two features are cousins of each other. I'm going to first go over the help me solve this first, and then after that go over view an example. You also have a link to the textbook as well, of course, calculator and ask my instructor. So let's start with help me solve this. So with the help me solve this, it does exactly what it says it does. It's going to help you solve this problem. And so I'm going to come here and purposely get a lot of stuff wrong so that you can see how this works. Okay. So in looking at this, they have you read some stuff and then, of course, continue. And then, of course, down here, you see it's got the verbiage or whatnot, and it's trying to actually teach you how to do this problem. And so he's giving it to you in pieces. So they're explaining, and so now we're at a point to where if we've read enough, we need to now try to guess what this answer is. And so again, I'm just going to put anything there. Just going to put 0 here and 0 there. So, and if you see, I got it wrong. Okay. Now let's go back again, and I'll know here after studying this course for a little bit that this is supposed to be 6 and this is supposed to be x. So then when you do that, see, you get that right. And then of course they keep on going. So they're going to explain more and more, and then eventually we'll get done with this problem here. So I'll just go ahead and type that in as 6, and I'm going to purposely get this wrong and type it in as 0. And I'm going to keep on getting it wrong so you see what happens. So if you notice, after a few tries, it'll tell you what the correct answer is and show you what you answered. But then after that, of course, it'll move on. So that's what we had up there. So if we keep on going, we'll guess at this, get an answer. So again, I'm going to get this wrong on purpose so that you can kind of see how it actually is. So the correct answer is 2, you answer 0. And so now, once that's done, of course, you close. And the one thing that you're going to notice here is, I don't know if you see this now, but you see how you have that red X there. When I click close, what's going to happen is I'm going to get another problem. And so what the system is trying to do is make sure that you actually do a problem, quote unquote, on your own. Okay. So, so we click close, and then we see that the problem just changed. And so the idea here is that you want this particular, you want to be able to do a problem on your own without the help me solve this help. Okay. Now, this red X will stay there until you actually do a problem without the help me solve this help. Another option that you have is view an example. And so you saw that help me solve this was an interactive way to try to help you get the answer to the question. Well, view an example is a static way. And so what view an example does is exactly what it says. It's going to allow you to view an example that is similar to, but not the same as, the problem that we have over here. And so, of course, it let you read a little bit, and then, of course, instead of you being able to answer, you just kind of click continue and read through it. Okay, and just keep on going until you get to the end. And now you see that for here the answer is 10/11. And so now that we do that, we can come here and then try to do our problem similarly. Okay. Now the good thing about help me solve this and view an example is that after you've already sort of studied the concepts, but you're stuck in a particular area, view an example and or help me solve this is good for sort of giving you an idea to give you that catalyst to finish the problem. However, one of the things that I find students do a lot is they actually use help me solve this and view an example to quote unquote learn the material. And so what's happening is that they're doing help me solve this and view an example in place of reading the textbook, or in place of watching videos, or in place of watching the lecture videos that I will be letting you have access to as well, that I make. Please do not do that. When you are in this situation, what you're actually doing is learning how to copy and not necessarily learning concepts. And so the way that I suggest that you use this is, if you're stuck on a problem and you don't even know where to start. So what I would do is I would look at help me solve this or view an example just up to that point to where you're stuck. If you're stuck in the beginning, then what I would do is look at it to see how it starts, and then after that cut it off and then try to do as much as you can. That is what I would do. So the idea here is that you want to be able to allow yourself to fail as much as possible. And so the faster you fail, the faster you stop failing. So you want to use this system in such a way to where you fail a lot in the beginning, but then towards the end, you start to fail less and less, and you're grasping the concepts more. So that's one thing I did want to lend an ear to you on, just to make sure that you're using this help me solve this and view an example properly. Okay. For the textbook, if you're wanting to read up on this concept over again in the textbook, then what this does is it'll take you to the exact section. It'll go to section 10.1, and it will only go to section 10.1. So you won't be able to go to section 10.2 in this. All right, so now that you have the textbook up, of course, I'm just going to scroll through here. And of course, you'll see I'll keep scrolling, but it's going to stop me at some point once I get to the end of the section there. It's not going to allow me to be able to go any further beyond section 10.1. So I'm getting to the end of this. So here I am at the exercising, and you see how the arrows grade out there. So again, if you're going to look at the textbook, it's going to focus you in just on looking at that one section and nothing else. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to put anything for this problem here. And the reason I want to do this is to showcase what your gradebook will look like. Okay. So let's say I'm done doing homework for the day and I hit save. So now I see that I've answered one problem and I got it wrong. And of course, that's fine. If I wanted to look at what I've done so far, I can go to my gradebook. And so going to the gradebook, you see that I've worked on section 10.1. I've got none of them right, but I spent 6 minutes on it. And this is the date and time. So I'm telling you this because part of how I evaluate your participation and attendance in this course is that I look at your gradebook. So at times, if I feel like you're sort of slacking off, maybe, or if I notice that you haven't been participating and whatnot, I may call this to your attention. And so I'm calling it to your attention because I'm noticing this in the gradebook. One of the suggestions that I have is that you do not spend more than 2 days offline at any one time. If you have to spend more than that, it may be an extenuating circumstance, but please try to refrain from that because you need to have that consistency going as much as possible. Our normal semesters are 15 to 16 weeks. Summer semesters are 10. That goes by a whole lot faster than what you think. So you need to stay consistent and be on it. Don't try to learn a lot at one time. Just try to learn a little bit in chunks, but do it often. Okay. So we've talked about the assignments. I'm going to go back here where we talked about the homework in particular, and we've talked about the review assignments. We also see here the homework. So these SLO quizzes are another thing that you need to do. These are 1 to 2 question quizzes that are part of your final grade. And so if you've noticed in eCampus, you have corresponding activities that goes with these particular SLO quizzes as well. And so you need to make sure that you get those done. Would preferably want you to do it right after or right in line with how you see everything. So right after section 10.4, I would prefer that you do it right then. And then do the activities at the end of a particular unit. And those activities you can find in eCampus. These quizzes, the SLO quizzes, are different than the quizzes that you will see in eCampus. So the quizzes for eCampus are different than the ones for the SLO quizzes that are in MyLabsPlus. So I want to make sure that you knew that. And notice that for these quizzes here, you only have 2 chances to get them right. And I can't really mess with these particular questions. So let's say if you do a typo or something like that, I can't go in directly and change the actual grade based upon that, even if you show me your work. I can change it in eCampus, but I can't change it in the MyLabsPlus system due to integrity issues if I do that, because we use that information for proof of accreditation. So I have to keep that as pure as possible. All right, so keep on going. So if you see, pretty much what we have here is the homework, text and video, and the SLO quizzes. Okay, and of course we got a sneak peek at the gradebook. So another thing I want to mention here, we don't use it a lot, but you can if you want to, is the study plan. And what the study plan is just another set of problems that you can do if you want to do something besides the homework. And so, of course, you can come here and do the practice and quiz me. What I would recommend is that you actually come here and go to view all chapters. And then anytime you take a quiz or some kind of test in here, you get these little thumbtacks to let you know on that quiz or test something that you got wrong. So let's say, for instance, we're in chapter 10, and let's say I've taken the test or whatnot. That test was probably part of, had questions from section 10.2, and we see that all these particular topics I need to work on. And so that's what the thumbtacks mean. When I see a graduation hat, that means I've mastered that particular topic, okay? So here I can come, and let's say I want to work on this, and you'll see that I have problems dedicated to me. And of course, if I want to just pare them down to what it is I really need to look at, then of course, you'll see that. But this is for all of chapter 10. If I just want to do it for a particular objective, then I can just click on the objective, and now I just have those few problems out of that. Okay. All right. So the other main thing that I want to mention before I end this video is about the multimedia library. And so the multimedia library is the central hub or the kernel of this particular system as far as where all the media is being held. And so if we click on that, you'll see that I have access to the multimedia textbook, the videos, the PowerPoints, as well as interactive figures. And I can do that for any chapter. So let's say I want to go to chapter 10, section 10.3, and I want to look at the textbook, PowerPoint, and video. So I just do that, find now, and now I see I have all that stuff there at my fingertips. And of course, I can click on that and either read the textbook, view the PowerPoints, or watch the videos. Okay. And as far as MyLabsPlus is concerned, this is pretty much it. So we go to assignments, you go to your gradebook to study to see what you've done, and the multimedia library you could use if you don't want to necessarily use the section text and video assignments to get that information. You can just kind of get it all from here. And so this concludes the video on your MyLabsPlus tour. Thank you so much for watching.